the Civil War, Marvel Civil War. Every time I say Civil War, I feel like we're going to be talking about like the North and the South.
And people would just stop listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it all starts out in the beginning with the filming of a reality show, which I thought was funny, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to take it off.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we have a group of sort of like new, not really notable, what are they called? Like the new
warriors.
The new warriors. And it's actually funny because one of the girls in the troop is like a Namor's cousin. And like nobody knows who they are, but they're sort of kind of maybe related to like some of the greats. So they're filming a reality show and they want to sort of like gang up on or like get a group of supervillains who are like in like a suburb of like what, Connecticut or like Pennsylvania?
Stanford, Connecticut.
Yeah, Connecticut.
All right, so to make a long story short, because I feel like you're going to drag this on.
Yeah, I am.
Nitro, who's one of the supervillains, decides to self-destruct and he kills 1,000 people.
And right before he does that, he's just like, you guys are fucking messing with the big boys now. Like, I'm about to cause ultimate destruction.
Yeah,
and
I think
the panels here are really like cool too, because right after he explodes, all you see is like the silhouettes of kids like playing in the park.
Yes,
and they're playing with like balls and like they're playing with like kid stuff.
That's what
and then
fucking
you see
pisses people off. They killed like around, I forgot the number, but I think it was like 600 children.
Or I think it was like 600 people and like 100 of them were children or something like that. The numbers were big though. But you have to understand that this is the perfect way to sort of introduce this sort of like, pro-registration.
Yeah. The whole country's like, that's not happening. You're not killing kids.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
It's the ultimate cause of like fear. It's the ultimate catalyst for this.
So you want to talk about, the first casualty, Johnny Storm?
Yes, because Johnny Storm is actually also too one of the first instances where the superheroes are shown like such hostility and people are actually fearful of them and they react in sort of like a brutal, like get them, hang them all sort of way.
A mob mentality.
Exactly. So Johnny Storm actually gets beat up so bad that he's put into a coma outside of a nightclub.
Yeah.
And he's also too one of those people where he doesn't really care about his identity. Like he is all for being flashy and like, hey, I'm Johnny Storm, type of guy.
He's the showboat.
Which is very similar to the way Tony Stark lives his life. And the thing that is also really interesting about this is that Iron Man gets Spider-Man on his side. And we all know how big of an importance hiding Spider-Man's identity is to his, the person.
Yeah.
That's one of the big things about Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man is actually one of the most famous superheroes on Marvel's side. When you think of Marvel, Spider-Man is in the top 2. When you think of DC, Batman, of course, is in the top 2, Batman, Superman. But Spider-Man is a huge deal. And up to this point, he's only revealed his identity to some of his close, people he's close with, like Gwen Stacy and Mary, is it Aunt May? Yeah, Aunt May knows too.
I thought it was Mary Jane. Isn't Gwen?
Well, probably her too, but people that are close to him.
So yeah, exactly.
His identity is a big deal, and Iron Man knows that, and he's like, if we need a face for our side, what better face than Peter Parker? What better face?
Everybody loves him.
The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the greatest mascot you could have.
Yeah.
So Stark is smart to go to Spider-Man.
Yeah, and Spider-Man at first, he's all for it, and he actually sort of reveals himself in front of everybody because I guess they held like a
press conference or something.
A press conference, and he's like, I don't wear a mask because I'm embarrassed, and he's just like, and I'm taking it off now because I forget what he says, but like I'm proud to be who I am or something like that.
Yeah, and this adds more credibility to
Tony Stark and his
Iron Man's,
pro-registration,
especially in the eyes of the public. Yeah, and it's a really big deal and a really important part of this arc.
So at one point, Iron Man actually confronts Captain America, and he's just like, or I think it's Maria.